STP AM 1500.
The following is a presentation of Cover Your Assets and is offered by Rooker Coaching and Consulting. You're trying to build your income, your business, your life. Challenges are all around you. It seems so overwhelming. People are depending on you. Who do you listen to? Where can you go to find honest, useful information?
Todd Rooker.
For decades, Todd Rooker has been teaching professional education to attorneys, CPAs, bankers, and financial advisors. Rooker Financial Consulting offers advice and coaching to consumers, business owners, and financial professionals on every topic imaginable. If you truly want to succeed, sit back and find out how to cover and build your assets. Here's nationally renowned speaker and expert getting you on the path to financial strength and wealth, Todd Rooker.
Hey, welcome everybody. It is another version of Cover Your Assets, and this morning we are blessed to have State Farm agent Kim Nybo with us. We're going to be talking about a topic that I regularly, in fact, consistently discuss with my clients because it is so important, and that is the interplay and importance of insurance as it relates to asset protection. A lot of us, most of us, have insurance. Rarely does anybody really fully appreciate what it is and what it does. But the thing you got to think about when you pay these insurance premiums, which you may not enjoy, and that's not a surprise, but it is a consistent premium payment that you can make every month. You can build it into your budget, and it will protect you from catastrophes that could otherwise wipe you out financially. Again, nobody enjoys paying these premiums. But this is an expense you can plan for, and that's the most important portion of it. So you can just put it into your budget, and it's something that's there. It's predictable. But the alternative to that is, okay, you don't have insurance, you don't pay for it, and then these major catastrophes come up, and they financially wipe you out. And they're things that happen that certainly you cannot plan for. And frankly, hey, look, nobody plans for or saves money in case the tornado takes the house away. I mean, come on. So insurance, while it may not be something that all of us love, and a lot of these insurance premiums are mandated. You've got a house, you've got to have insurance, have your insurance coverage. And if you have a car in the state of Minnesota, when I was younger, they mandated insurance. I remember when that happened, people couldn't believe they could make us get car insurance. But those were the days where you get into an accident and just hope that the other person had insurance if they hit you, because if they didn't, you were going to pursue them, and good luck trying to get the money. So it has been a really, really good thing, but it really goes beyond that. And we need to talk about that. So Kim Nybo is here. She just recently did a little seminar on insurance, and she talked about some of the experiences that she has had with some of her clients, and it was so intriguing. And Kim is a superstar. I mean, you hear me talk about her on the show all the time. Okay,
Todd, we're on the same page. You know what I titled the show today?
Yeah.
Kim Nybo, State Farm Superstar.
That's what it should be. That's what it should be. And, no matter what business Kim was in, she'd be a superstar. And that really is the truth. So, Kim, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Todd.
How long have you been in the business, the insurance business?
33 years.
33 years.
Holy
wow. And I'm only, 29 now? Yeah.
Longer than you've been alive, Todd.
Yeah. Don't I wish. What did I say last week? My kid is 35 years old, and I said that's a better age than mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, between your husband, your daughter, and yourself, and now apparently your brother-in-law.
Yep.
How many State Farm insurance agency outlets or locations do you guys have?
5.
Oh my God. Guys, how many State Farm agents do you know who have more than one location, let alone 5? Goodness gracious. She is located at some very convenient locations. In fact, I actually thought about having her on to talk about the benefit of owning real estate that your business occupies, because she's got a location that I've been to several times. Tell us where you're located and how people could get a hold of you should they want to do that after the show, Kim.
So our first location is 2724 University Avenue Southeast in Minneapolis. And that phone number is 612-767-7775. And our other locations at 4634 Central Avenue Northeast And that's in Minneapolis, also 55421. And that phone number is 763-571-6111, or just Kim Nybo, Kim@KimNybo.com.
All right.
Yep. Or you can go to kimnybo.net, which I have up on the video right now.
Yes, you can.
And that's a nice, clean State Farm website to get in touch with Kim.
Yeah, see,
Thank you.
that 33 years has her just about everywhere. So
Very true.
We try.
So the presentation that you did, you talked about some of the losses, and all of this stuff. I say it all the time. Insurance is to you is only a pain in the rear end premium until something happens, and then it becomes the most important thing in your life. And these things just happen. And when they do, they can be devastating, but they're unpredictable. And some of those unpredictable things you talked about in your presentation. So tell us a little bit about some of the things you've experienced with your clients in the form of losses.
Fires, obviously. Somebody leaves something cooking on the stove and decides to run to the store and forgets it's on there, and come back to either an apartment that was burnt and all the neighbors around them are smoke and damage to the fire, or even your home. A gal is smoking a cigarette with her girlfriends, throws it on the ground. How many smokers do that? Wind comes up, blows the ashes.
Oh no, you told that differently. So she's out with her girlfriends. When they drink, they smoke.
Yes.
And they're outside of the
House.
And what happened?
She throws her cigarette on the ground, like
Outside?
most smoker, outside, doesn't put it out. And the wind carries it up through the dryer vent, which what does dryer vent and lint do? So it basically sets the house on fire from the inside out.
Oh my God.
So she goes to bed, right? She's drunk. She goes to bed. And thank God she had animals. They woke her. Pretty much could have been a burning bed situation. To her home on fire. She barely got out. And that's a terrible situation, but it does happen.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Oh my, that was one of them that really got me.
Mhm. The other one is the grill. You're out barbecuing, grilling, with charcoal grill, and you think nothing of it. And the wind came, blew a bunch of the ashes into the corner of the deck. And before they know it, their whole house is on fire. It melted the cars right to the concrete floor in the garage inside, and barely got their dogs out okay, and burnt their house to the ground.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Kim, who turns on the stove and then leaves the house? Who does that?
More
ADHD, Todd. That's what
more
I'm saying,
people than you
ADHD.
think.
Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, man, that is just.
They get busy, Todd. They get busy.
Man. Leave the house with the stove on. I just, man, oh man. Well, so there are a lot of things. I also
Yeah.
recall you talking about, I think, boats and jet skis and some of that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, those are very dangerous, and just open yourself up for a huge lawsuit situation. When you have guests on a boat, borrow your jet ski, and they're jet skis. People always say they can drive them. Like, I've driven it. Have you driven a jet ski before? Oh yeah, I have. They lie. They never have. They don't know. They don't know how to stop them. There really is no brake on a jet ski. So there's a lot of injuries from them running into things, running over somebody that's fallen off their jet ski because they don't know. They're going to go help them, but they don't know how to stop it. Instead, they run over them.
Oh man.
So there's a lot of things that happen with those. So when you borrow something to somebody, you're still liable for what they do on that toy. Same with a boat. I mean, terrible things. You guys heard about the one in the news, where the husband ran over the wife and cut off her leg and her foot. And I mean, a lot of things like that happen. I just had a gal 2 years ago. Her husband took off in the boat, didn't realize she wasn't sitting down properly. She fell back, broke her neck, hit it against a chair, broke her neck. And then they had to try and get the EMTs down there to try and lift her out and stabilize her.
I
And
tell you what, I broke my neck at the gym, and that's a much easier situation to
Oh,
get lifted
my.
out of. Yeah.
oh, yeah.
I remember actually when you did that.
Yeah.
Evan.
That disrupted our schedules. pretty
Yeah.
much.
Oh my gosh, that's a
Hey,
terrible.
by the way, I
that's a
broke my
terrible
neck
thing.
lifting weights.
See,
I
that
won't
was
be in this weekend.
unexpected too, right?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. You never know, right? So people who buy new boats, never owned a boat before, think they can handle it, think they can drive them,
It's
or let a buddy
only
use it.
Kim. It's only like 100 horsepower.
Yeah, right.
My car has 250. It's easy.
Yeah, exactly. All of that.
The thing that immediately comes to mind, because I know this about people,
Mhm.
and that is that they are thrifty to a fault. They never believe anything's going to happen to them. And so, as you describe this, it's not a state law that somebody has insurance on a jet ski. It's not a state law that they have insurance on a boat. And so they think they're going to save money. And maybe because the boat is only worth a couple $1,000 or $5,000 or whatever. So the first point I want to make about that is when you select a deductible, the deductible is the component that is your responsibility, and thereafter it goes to the insurance company. Now, there's a lot of things that are covered we're going to talk about. Those are named perils and things that can happen. But remember, folks, if you have a $5,000 boat and you're questioning whether or not you should put insurance on it, remember that you, in fact, have a $5,000 deductible if you don't have insurance on it. So you're the one who's going to have to pay for that. So if you say, well, I would never pick a $5,000 deductible, when you're cheap and thrifty, that's exactly what you're doing.
And of course, you don't have liability
and
protection.
unlimited liability you're going to pay too.
Exactly.
Yeah, good points,
boy,
yes.
I was going to get there because that's that's the reality when when you talk to a CPA who says, well, you don't need to create a business structure. You don't need an LLC. You don't need an S Corp. It's going to cost you $1,000 to file the taxes on it. It's not worth it. You only do, $200,000 a year in volume. It isn't about that. It's about the liability. It's about losing everything that you have. And it's the same way with insurance and with liability. Liability, ironically, is one of the least expensive coverages that you pay for on a policy. But in fact, it could be the far and away most important coverage that you have.
100%.
I would agree. Everybody says, I'm a good driver. You know how many times a week I hear, but I'm a good driver. But I'm a good driver. I don't need that. I don't need extra coverage but I'm a good driver. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly. There's that. And then there's also the part where it's like, well, what if they don't have insurance, where the UIM comes in?
Yeah, a lot of people are driving with no insurance or not enough.
I think the last statistics I saw for the Twin Cities was like 11% of drivers don't have insurance, and another like 8% have state minimums or something like that.
Yeah,
it's wild.
That's bad.
It's wild.
Especially since the minimum lawsuit in the state of Minnesota is over $100,000. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kim, you know that about, I don't know what it was, maybe a year and a half ago, I had an S65 Mercedes.
Yes,
there was
I remember that.
Only 52 of them built. And some gentleman on my way leaving our meeting ran a red light and T-boned me and wiped out my car. And he had $30,000 in liability per person, $60,000 per occurrence, and $10,000 for property damage on my $200,000 Mercedes.
How do you find any car that's less than $10,000 anymore?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, especially
Tough.
today.
They're
Tough.
out there, but when your car is in that category.
Yeah, even an $8,000 car replacement cost right now is more than that, just with supply and demand. It's crazy.
Well, 30, 60, 10 doesn't adequately cover anything.
No.
My insurance company paid out for the car because it was totaled out because it's an aluminum body and nobody would work on it. Nobody could do anything with it. Unbelievable. I could still drive it. It wasn't, but anyway, so the insurance company sued him for the money and put a lien on his home. This guy's like 75 years old and put a lien on his home for the outstanding amount. Now, I've not talked to this guy. I have no idea. But I can only imagine how devastating that was for his wife, if he has one, and his family.
Yeah.
But you know what? How much more would it have cost to have $500,000 in liability and have $100,000 in coverage in property damage? It's not that
pennies
expensive. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. But those are all the things that are never going to happen to me until they do, right?
Oh,
I've been driving for 60 years and I've never been in an accident.
I'm a really good driver. I've never been in an accident. I hear it all the time. I've been driving for 60 years and I'm a really good driver and nothing's ever going to happen when I'm behind the wheel.
Have you ever watched other people drive?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It is. So, but that leads us to the next point here, which is, why don't you tell us a little bit about what things are covered, what things are not typically covered that you need to be aware of? Let's talk a little bit about that. So on my auto policy, there are those things. There is the liability insurance. If it's not a single limit liability, it's a per person per occurrence. And then you've got property damage. You've got uninsured, underinsured. Talk a little bit about that.
Yep. And then you got your comp and your collision. So
Right.
people, a lot of people too make a mistake saying, I want liability only. Okay. Well, what does that mean? Do you want windshield coverage? Do you want theft and vandalism
Oh,
coverage?
that's interesting. Can you cover glass without covering comprehensive on other things?
Nope. It's part of comprehensive. So when people say, I just want liability only, they forget that then their windshields are very expensive. Now windshields have to be computer programmed.
Yeah, on cars from like the last 10 years.
Very expensive. And people don't realize that. And the windshields are more expensive too because they're kind of like smart windshields.
Yep.
And so people just give me liability only. And then something happens, they get
You
a
know
rock
why they're
chip
saying that? They're
or-
just trying to be cheap, right?
Yep. And I don't think they understand what
Listen, my car's like 8 years old.
Of course not.
liability only is. And so then they get very disheartened, when they have a claim and that's not covered.
Oh, they're
theft,
angry.
vandalism, they're keyed. They walk into Target and they come out and somebody just smashed the whole side of their car. And they're pretty bummed, because now there's, no coverage. Hey, liability only means liability only because nothing's ever going to happen to them again, right?
You saved that $300 a year, and now you're on the hook for that $3,000 repair.
100%. And the inconvenience and, what about rental car coverage?
So it's worth saying, because this is an important point to recognize. If you're the person who says, I've never had an accident in my life, I only need liability. Well, if you're the person who says, I'm not going to have a problem, I don't need to worry about that, you need to understand that liability insurance is to cover you when you do something to somebody else. The other coverages, comprehensive and collision, are the coverages that cover when someone else does something to you, which apparently that's what you think is more likely, and that's the thing you're not doing, right?
Yep, that's correct. Ha.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Of course, I'm
100%.
always right. Come on.
Oh,
man.
yeah,
Are you
definitely.
kidding me?
On Cover Your Assets, Todd is always right. The other 23 hours a day, maybe not. But here,
anytime I'm near my wife, I'm never right. But all the rest of the time, I'm
That's what
here's the
keeps your
paradox:
line
if you
tight.
invite your wife on the show, you're both always wrong and always right.
Oh, and I want to see that show.
I will never.
I'm in.
I will never invite. She's the blade. She'll cut me down so fast. Oh man, that's never gonna happen.
I love that. I love that.
That's the final show.
That's
Wow.
right. Yeah,
I
that's
will
the
say
going
that
away.
my biggest thing is when people say, hey, take my collision off my car. And I say, all right, let's talk about my car is 10 years old. It's worth nothing. I said, well, what's nothing? Well, my car is worth $10,000. I said, okay, would you like $10,000 if your car is totaled to go out and buy a new car? Or are you okay with taking $10,000 out of your savings account to put down on the new car? Well, no, I want $10,000. I said, okay. So for an extra $20 a month, you can have another, $10,000. Oh, that's all it is? And I said, yeah, that's all it is. Oh, well, then I want full coverage.
Exactly.
So it's just having those conversations and having the aha moments
It's so
with
useful.
clients. Yeah.
It's
Insurance
so useful.
has to be the thing that people are most penny wise, pound foolish about.
I would agree.
Agree.
About it.
I would agree.
Anything.
Yep.
It's insane.
I totally agree. And the point that you bring up, and without getting into stated value insurance coverage, wherein you say, I'm going to have $50,000 worth of coverage, and if that thing is totaled out, it's going to give you $50,000. The way that it typically works is they're looking at replacement in the market. And the one thing that you should all be aware of is the extraordinarily expensive costs that have taken place with used vehicles in today's market. It is, I don't know what I think I heard that the average used vehicle is selling for something close to $40,000.
It's more than a new car.
So a good friend of mine, his car was totaled 3 or 4 months ago, not at fault accident. And he is currently on a waiting list at Toyota for a new car because he had I think it was 2019 Toyota Sienna. So he's getting a new Toyota Sienna. And
just when is he going to get it?
The estimated waiting time is 6 to 18 months from now.
What?
6 to 18 months for the car that he ordered because the backlog on that model is just that long.
Yeah.
Let me say something else about. Oh, go ahead, Kim.
And used cars are just astronomically expensive.
Yeah,
right
with
now. more than a new car.
Right, exactly. The lead times that are like that are driving up the used market like crazy.
Do you want to hear an inside secret about one of there's more, but one of the main reasons that used cars are going for as much money as they are. Number one, of course, you're right. Supply and demand. There's more demand than there is supply, and of course, that's driving pricing up. And given that the average car on the road today is 10 years old or older, that's never happened before. I mean, when I grew up, it was insane that you would finance a car. Went from 24 months to 36 months. My father says, "Who in God's name would finance a car for 36 months?" Because in those days, guys, if your car made it to 100,000 miles and you could drive it to the junkyard at 100,001 miles without it breaking down along the way, you were ahead of the game. Now, today, vehicles are going for 300,000 miles and more, which is insane. Well, when the Japanese automakers broke into the American market, they overbuilt the cars to create brand recognition. This is a true story, guys. And when they did, where normally our domestic automakers always built planned obsolescence into the cars. They knew exactly when they were going to go wrong.
They were junk. That's what I would say.
And they knew when you would have to replace them. And so as soon as you got out of warranty, those vehicles started having problems to the extent that you were saying to yourself, is it cheaper just to buy a new car than to keep fixing this one? And they did that on purpose. Well, the Japanese automakers came in and they built their cars so well. You remember Honda many years ago where people go, my gosh, these cars go forever. They overbuilt the brand and distorted our market. So much so to the extent that the American domestic automakers couldn't compete, and they had to start eliminating the obsolescence in their cars and making them last longer. Well, guess what we got now? We got average cars on the road for 10 years or more. So the automakers, including the Japanese and all others, have gotten together and said, you know what? We're going to start building planned obsolescence back into these cars because we need people to be buying and replacing these cars. That's our residual income, right?
Well, then they got to have them available to buy.
Right. So the older cars actually are built to last longer than the brand new cars. What do you think that does to the value of used cars? That's what's going on in addition to everything else right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
now
I mean,
know why.
I watched an entire show on this, and it was extraordinary, really interesting. In any event, the liability issue is such a huge component of considering insurance. And Evan, you're gonna have to let me know when we need to take a break because I'm.
Let's take a break.
All right.
That's what I think we should do.
I think this is such an incredible topic because I think that for a lot of people, just like you said, they're always looking to save a buck and they don't understand how they're putting themselves and their families in jeopardy. And I mean, in a big way, everybody works their rear end off to try to succeed and put security behind the things that they do. Insurance is your number one least expensive, most valuable thing that you pay money for, but rarely do people understand what it is. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with Kim Nybo from State Farm, extraordinary businesswoman who's been in the business for 33 years. We'll be right back. Does your sump pump run constantly? Do you want to ensure that you never have a damp, musty-smelling basement? These issues are caused by water coming off your roof, draining into your basement. Gutters can resolve these problems. William Foss is the owner of Seamless Solutions. He is honest and trustworthy. He is simply the best. If you need gutters or leaf covers, he is the guy to call. You can call him at 612-834-0664 or go to his website, seamlessolutionsmn.com.
Are you looking for a bank that supports entrepreneurs? If you're searching for a bank to grow with you and your business, I would like to welcome you to our village. I am Alicia Webb, President and Vice Chair of Village Bank. I am also a villager. Village Bank is an entrepreneur's bank, built by an entrepreneur for entrepreneurs. As a community bank, we are here to help businesses grow and make our community strong. If you want a bank that understands what it takes to build something special and puts relationships first, connect with us. Follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn or visit us online at villagebankonline.bank. Again, that's villagebankonline.bank. It takes a village to accomplish business goals. Be sure to tune in to Cover Your Assets the last Saturday of every month in 2021 to fill your entrepreneurial cup of ambition and start your Saturday off right with your village. Village Bank.
Fix Auto has been the collision repair leader in the Twin Cities for over 40 years. Hi, I'm Matt Feehan, second-generation owner. Our mission at Fix Auto is to provide you with the simplest collision repair experience anywhere. If you're in an accident and you need help, my team is here and ready for you. You can find us on the web at fixautousa.com. That's fixautousa.com. We are Fix Auto, home of the WOW experience.
He can lift a bus straight over his head. He can fly around the world in seconds. And he has the power to regenerate entire limbs.
Okay, so Jason Walgrave isn't actually a superhero. But once you visit his website to find out what he knows about real estate, you may start to think he's superhuman. That's because at jasonwalgrave.com, you'll find absolutely anything you need to know about real estate in the Twin Cities. Whether you're looking to buy or sell your home, check out jasonwalgrave.com, the #1 place for all your real estate questions.
Finding a good banker and CPA are like having a good doctor or mechanic. You cannot fully appreciate the value they represent until you're in a pinch and truly need them. However, that's not the time to go looking for one. Instead, you want to position and strategize well in advance for a favorable outcome. CPA Arliss Cleveland of Arliss Cleveland LTD is the CPA firm you've been looking for. As many of you already know, if you're looking for a great CPA, Arliss Cleveland gets my highest endorsement. Arliss Cleveland LTD has now formed a strategic relationship with Village Bank, conveniently located in the Village Bank building, located at 9298 Central Avenue North, Suite 412, Blaine, Minnesota. You can also find Arliss Cleveland LTD's certified public accountants and consultants by going to accountingoffices.net or by simply calling 763-786-0639. That contact information again, accounting-offices.net or by simply calling 763-786-0639.
You're listening to Cover Your Assets with Todd Rooker.
Welcome back, everybody. So, talking to Kim Nybo, a State Farm insurance agent extraordinaire. I really do mean this. If you have any concerns about the current coverage you have, you want to have somebody who is just the best. She will educate you. She's got a team that is second to none. And everybody that I send and refer to them comes back and tells me stories about how amazing they are. I sincerely mean this. So if you want to give her a call, how would they get a hold of you, Kim?
763-571-6111 or 612-767-7775.
How about
We've got that 612 number scrolling across the bottom right now.
All right,
Beautiful,
very
thank
good.
you.
And you have a location up there as well, Evan, do you?
Yeah. Or Kim at kimnybo.com.
What's that?
There's multiple locations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whichever one you want.
To you is going to be the one.
So
And we go everywhere, you guys. We go everywhere.
So when you think about, I talk about investment properties and investment real estate on the show all the time. I'm a huge advocate. I own a bit of it myself. I know that Kim's family are very much in the investment real estate world. And when I talk to clients about insurance as it relates to real estate purchases, I tell them, you plan to get sued. In other words, it's not if you get sued, it's when you get sued. And too many people, and this relates to insurance in general, have this silly notion, and believe me, I mean silly notion, that if I'm just really smart and I make wise decisions, nothing will ever go wrong. If you are really that delusional, you need help. Because the reality is stuff happens you have no control over, and those things can wipe you out financially. So the cost of an insurance premium is such a low cost to ensure that the major things don't happen. But when it comes to owning an investment property or owning a business, now you're taking it to a whole new level. Because one, employees being what it is will get hurt on the job. Liability issues will arise where customers and consumers will think they've been done wrong, or maybe are, and will sue you. And your concern with business insurance is that it doesn't flow through to your personal assets, things like your home that I just described, and your personal investments and all those things that you set aside. So when you think about asset protection, and I say the minute you succeed in your life, just imagine you got a bullseye posted on your forehead for all the people who believe the way they're going to become wealthy is by suing you. And true thing, folks, top three ways people believe they're going to become wealthy. They're going to win the lottery, they're going to sue somebody, or they're going to inherit money. This is how ridiculous people are. This is the way they're going to become wealthy. Well, if you are succeeding and people know it, you better have proper insurance to cover those major things. So when you think about a business, number one, your first line of defense is the insurance that you have, and that means the outstanding liability as a maximum should somebody sue you for those major events. Then beyond that, if they win more than that, remember they're coming after you. So if someone wins $2 million and you've got a $500,000 worth of insurance, if the insurance company is going to jump in and defend you, but frankly, they're also defending themselves, because if you lose, they're going to have to pay. If they win $2 million, that means $1.5 million left to you, and they're coming after you. And all this nonsense about, well, I don't have anything, so they can't do anything to me. Let me just say this. If you go to work every day, you have an income, and they can garnish those wages for the rest of your working life. Is that worth protecting? What do you think about that, Kim?
Absolutely, it's worth protecting. And years ago, $1 million umbrella was, or a PLUP, they call it, or an umbrella, or that was great. That was a lot of money. Today, that's not a lot of money. We just had a lawsuit situation where a girl crossed the center lane, hydroplaning, and hit somebody else head on in the oncoming traffic and hurt them badly. And the lawsuit ended at $1.5 million just on that alone. So $1 million's not enough. She's still on the hook for another $500,000. And really, to have the difference between $1 million and $2 million is $50 a year, pennies, just pennies a day to go up that much more, because you get a discount for going more. So I'm finding more and more of my clients going with $2, $3, $4, $5 million.
Unreal. So you heard me tell you this story with somebody that I knew years ago. She was a young lady, a paralegal. She was coming from, I think it was, I don't know, Anoka or Coon Rapids or whatever it was. And she was coming through the old way into Brooklyn Park, and 85th and Zane. She was on Zane on her way passing 85th. Well, a guy, his car had died at the lights, got out of his car, lifted the hood, and was in front of the car trying to get the car going. She's on her way to work, apparently, and while she's driving, she's putting on her makeup, and the person alongside of her was there to say that after the accident occurred. She hit his car from behind at about 40 miles an hour and paralyzed him from the waist down. This young lady had those horrible liability limits of $30,000 per person, $60,000 per occurrence. That means $30,000 coverage because there's only one guy. They won over $1 million, and they put a 30-year wage garnishment on her wages. 25% of her income was to be garnished for her for 30 years, for at least for as long as she worked. And it was non-dischargeable in bankruptcy because they believed that they actually made a point. And she had no money to defend herself either. That was the other thing. So it was apparently thought to be a criminal event as a result of what she did, and it was non-dischargeable in bankruptcy.
So an umbrella, Todd, is called lawsuit protection. It's another good word for it.
Yep. Just imagine that you could pay. And so if I get $1 million, probably inadequate coverage, because today, years ago, I was telling Kim, human life value, which is an average through the court system, was determined to be $2 million. So when they talk to a jury about awarding money, $2 million for somebody who's just an average person is a reasonable amount. If a person is a high income earner, well, then it goes way higher than that. And God knows, we don't know who we're going to hurt or what's going to happen. But that was 20 years ago that it was like that. So I know it's more than that. But just for $1 million umbrella, what are we talking about? How much money are we talking about?
$120, $150 a year.
Oh, so imagine that
goes down with discounts. If you have your home and your auto and the umbrella, you actually get a discount. It goes down.
So I want you to think about this, folks. Insurance companies have good attorneys. They have a lot of volume. They have good law firms on retainer who will work with them and protect you as a client. So, point is, you probably couldn't afford these attorneys. And imagine if you could go to one of these attorneys and for the cost of about $15 a month, could say, look, I'm going to pay you $15 a month. And if anything ever happens, I want you to defend me. And if you lose, I want you to pay out $1 million. That's what an umbrella policy is. How many law firms do you think would be takers on that
Oh
one?
my God, that's a great analogy, Todd.
Uh-huh.
Great analogy.
Yeah. It's crazy. And people don't, and okay, so let's say I want to double that to 2 million. How much more am I talking about now, Kim? About.
Half again, we're 170, 180 a year.
So cheap. So cheap. So, again, when you are a business, it's not if you might be sued, but it's anticipating when you get sued. So when and if it happens, it's not going to wreck your day. Insurance is your first line of defense. You want to have adequate coverage. Somebody sues you, they're going to have to go through that amount of money before they get to you. Once they do, if you're a business structure, then you have to manage the business properly, because if you do not, just because you have an LLC or an S Corp means nothing, because most people don't know the proper governance and management of an LLC. And consequently, when sued, more than 50% of the time, those who are suing will come through the corporation or the business and go right through to your personal assets because you commingled, you don't keep annual meetings, you didn't properly fund the business, all kinds of things that I could teach you, but most people don't do because they're just cheap. And so they spend a couple $100 to get an LLC and they think they're good. Insurance is the thing that you put in front of all of that before they can ever do that. And then God forbid they go beyond that. Then you want to have your business structure in place. And then you can get into complex structures personally and business to even go beyond that. Whole nother story. But the idea that you're not even going to cover the first one properly just because you're trying to save a buck is about the stupidest thing you can do if you're going to venture into business. Now, personally, for a lot of you, you don't look at yourselves as having to worry about these things. But the reality is the personal side is every bit as important to you as it is to a business owner. And the $2 million in an umbrella for somebody who has 2 cars and a home, I think is just a given. Am I wrong about that, Kim?
Oh, you're right. I mean, it is a given. It's a litigious situation. Attorneys make a lot of money. I tell people all the time, can you afford $300 to $600 an hour for an attorney? Because get ready.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to cost you. Or you can just buy an umbrella. I mean, it covers any unintentional act that, bad things happen to good people every day.
What are some of the things? Let's do a homeowner's policy. So if I'm shopping my homeowner's insurance policy, what are the things that are typically covered, and what are some of the things that are not covered that I need to be worried about?
Well, I mean, first thing I'd say is be careful of deductibles, because we're seeing 2-3 deductibles on a home policy. We're seeing them aging out roofs after so many years where they'll get ACV on their roof rather than the replacement cost of a roof. So some other things we're seeing is that maybe they're underinsured. They've got the dwelling underinsured. I've had some home fires where people have never said, boy, you had too much coverage on my house, Kim. They've always said to me, you were right. You did insure it properly. I had one guy come to me to do a review and he says, oh, you've got my home insured too much. I said, no, I don't. And he's like, I want to lower it. And I said, you need to go home and think about it. When he went home to think about it, there was a fire that started in his garage and his whole house burnt to the ground. Okay. You know what he said to me? Thank you so much for not letting me decrease my home coverage. That would have been the worst thing I could have ever done. But because of you, you talked me into keeping it. I would have been financially wiped out if I'd have went down to the coverage limits I wanted.
When I talk to people, I do a lot of money management and help people manage their business and their personal finances. And when I talk about insurance, I say, it's never about what's covered. It's about what's not covered. So when you look at an insurance policy, there's the declarations page that's going to tell you your coverages, but the exclusions are the things you need to be concerned with, the things that are excluded from coverage. Now, many of those things are available to you through what's known as a rider, but you have to ask for them and you have to take the time to understand what is and is not covered. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, Kim?
It's true. There's a difference between an HO3 policy and an HO5 policy. So if people don't understand what that is, they need to go get online and look at the comparison of the two. Most policies out there in the industry today are HO3 policies. And Those are old policies that used to be enforced a long time ago. Then they went to an HO5, but now with cost containment for these insurance companies, they've now backed them back down to an HO3 policy.
You mean what the storm chasers have done to the cost of insurance?
Absolutely crucified the insurance industry. Yes.
All right. We're going to talk about that because you covered you said something that is going to take a little more overview so that everybody understands what you just said. We will be right back talking about insurance coverage as it relates to your personal asset protection, protecting you and your family. We'll be right back. Hey, are you considering something exceptional to set your home apart and highlight its curb appeal? How about the rich look of custom copper gutters? Copper gutters are not only beautiful, they also offer timeless durability. William Foss with Gutter Solutions installed my beautiful copper gutters. I get compliments every day. If you're looking for extraordinary craftsmanship and would like to consider something truly special, call him at 612-834-0664 or go to their website, seamlesssolutionsmn.com. Ask for Billy. I have trusted attorney Brian Aho for more than 10 years to work closely with me to resolve and eliminate debt for many of my personal and business clients. Aho Law Office is the go-to firm I choose because Brian has always been caring and compassionate with my clients, while tenaciously fighting to retain as much of their assets as possible while quickly eliminating their debt. Brian's extensive experience and knowledge of bankruptcy law and willingness to fight allow him to resolve challenges and cases that many attorneys won't. Don't let other attorneys learn on your dime. Rely on the experience of Aho Law Office to help you achieve relief from your creditors. Competent, compassionate legal advocates providing the clarity to protect tomorrow. For more information, call Brian and his staff at 612-271-4047 or email Brian directly at brian@aholawoffice.com. Again, that number 612-271-4047.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Nybo with the Kimberly Nybo Insurance Agency, serving the community for over 27 years. People tend to be most concerned with price. That is, of course, until something goes wrong. Then the only thing they care about is their coverage. My experience enables me to uncover every available discount. I could save you up to 40% while still offering the proper coverage for the people you care about. Call today for a free review at 763-571-6111 or email me at kim@kimnybo.com.
Hi, this is Troy Danner of Danner's Cabinet Shop. My family has been building custom cabinets and countertops for homes in Minnesota for over 50 years. We still make the cabinets the way my grandpa did when he founded our company. My team of skilled craftsmen pride themselves on attention to detail and making sure every element of your project goes perfectly. Give me a call at 763-753-4002 or visit us online at dannerscabinets.com.
Mike Overson here of Minnesota Home Talk. With today's housing market, buying a house is a competition. To win in a multiple offer situation, you have to work with a local lender who has the reputation of being 100% reliable. Come to the winning team. Get pre-approved for your loan by one of the top lenders in the nation, the Mike Overson Mortgage Team at Luminate Home Loans. We will help you win. Call me at 612-202-8321. That's Mike Overson at 612-202-8321 or go to applywithmike.com.
Todd Rooker here to tell you about the most amazing jewelry store, Golden Treasures on 805 Grand Avenue in St. Paul. I've known the owner, Todd Gimble, for almost 20 years now, and at Golden Treasures, not only do you get more for less, it's the experience that you and your special person will feel when you walk in the door. Todd truly puts his heart and soul into creating your experience regardless of how much money you spend. This is Todd's customer for life philosophy. Take it from me, there really is no other jewelry store. You can't go wrong with Golden Treasures in St. Paul. 651-227-2711. That's 651-227-2711. Finding a good banker and CPA are like having a good doctor or mechanic. You cannot fully appreciate the value they represent until you're in a pinch and truly need them. However, that's not the time to go looking for one. Instead, you want to position and strategize well in advance for a favorable outcome. CPA Arliss Cleveland of Arliss Cleveland LTD is the CPA firm you've been looking for. As many of you already know, if you're looking for a great CPA, Arliss Cleveland gets my highest endorsement. Arliss Cleveland LTD has now formed a strategic relationship with Village Bank, conveniently located in the Village Bank building, located at 9298 Central Avenue North, Suite 412, Blaine, Minnesota. You can also find Arliss Cleveland LTD certified public accountants and consultants by going to accountingoffices.net or by simply calling 763-786-0639. That contact information again, accounting-offices.net or by simply calling 763-786-0639.
You're listening to Cover Your Assets with Todd Rooker.
Welcome back, everybody. So, we're talking about, a homeowner's policy. And years ago, I recall that an HO5 was the pinnacle, and basically it was guaranteed replacement cost on everything. And I also remember, Kim, people living in expensive homes and having vastly less coverage on their home because the insurance agent did what I called buy the business. They would come in and write a policy. Nobody would slap them for it. And then the home would burn down. It would cost 3 times as much to replace it, but the insurance company was bound to pay that amount. Also, in addition to that, the innovation of the folks who are in the roofing business and siding business, who now are coming around door to door all the time. And I'm trying to beat these guys up, but they are replacing everybody's roofs. Your entire neighborhood's getting their roof replaced, and the insurance companies are paying for it. Well, what do you think that does to the cost of insurance? And so they have taken an HO5, which was the pinnacle policy, and they've pulled a lot of these things out and excluded them, if not for you paying an additional endorsement on that. And a lot of people, well, tell us, what do people do when you offer these endorsements to them in an effort to try to make certain that they're covered?
Oh, I don't need that. That's never going to happen to me. So then they don't want it if they have to pay for it. If they don't have to pay for it, everybody wants everything.
Right.
But now the burden's back on the homeowner because of the roofing issues we've had, with roofers and things like that. So now, when you offer something, it's like my kids when they were little, they always wanted everything when I went to the store. But if I told them they had to pay half or all, they didn't still want it so much anymore.
Right.
So that's how I always knew if somebody wanted something or not. How much were they willing to pay for it?
Right. So when you think about your policies, think about good, better, best.
Absolutely.
And realize that they're not the same at all. Now, look, there's a group of consumers who are just ticked off at this whole thing. I should be able to pay virtually no money and get everything, right? And of course, it doesn't work that way. So sorry, too bad. But when they're offered these things and they don't take them, I can only see something happening, and then them coming back and saying, "Well, I remember I said I wanted that. Didn't I?"
Happens all the time. They do. They don't want to pay for it, but then when something bad happens, they wish they had it. So then they try to tell us that they asked for it, but then we have documentation that they do not have it. So then they go, "Oh, I really said that?" I said, "Yeah, you really did say."
So in today's world, you guys have to document that, because there's a good possibility that very thing will happen when they tell you they don't want the coverage because they want to save money, or they don't want the endorsement because it'll never happen to them. But then when it does, they come back and want to sue you or the insurance company because they said they wanted it, and you have to cover your assets.
Absolutely. I tell clients all the time, pay now or pay later. One way or the other, you're going to pay. So you can pay a little bit more now every month, or you can pay a lot later when a claim happens. You decide. So you either start saving money in your checkbook right now for a $30,000, disparity, or you can just give me an extra $50 a month now, and then you never have to worry about it again.
Guys,
pay now, pay later.
That's the purpose of insurance. Insurance is based on indemnification to bring you where you were prior to this issue taking place. And you can handle it in one of two ways. You can save up the money yourself.
Correct.
So maybe it'll never happen, but if it does, it's going to be big. Or you can pay a consistent monthly bill, which you may not like doing either one, but one of them is more easily managed and predictable within a monthly budget. And the other one can come and wipe you out. And even if you had this silly notion, and I don't think anybody does, but even if you thought, well, I'll pay as little as I can for my insurance, and I'll self-insure. I'll cover those things myself. Remember, along the way, you've got to amass the money. So if anything happens to you along the way before you get the money, you're screwed. So, that's the bit. That's insurance in a nutshell. That's what it is. And
catastrophic or inconvenient. We want to insure the catastrophic, not the inconvenient. So you don't want a nickel and dime a policy, because that doesn't go well against you for claim rating discounts and things like that. So I tell people, catastrophic or inconvenient, you have to insure the inconvenient. You have to do maintenance on your home and keep it up. This isn't a maintenance policy. You know, you don't let your home run into the ground and then call insurance and say, "Is this an insurance claim?" You know, that happens a lot too.
Where people think that just things going bad over time that are reasonably going to happen should be covered
that
under
they're
their
supposed
insurance
to
policy.
get a repair guy out on and fix, you know, like a dripping faucet or a leaky toilet or, you know.
You know, it's funny you say this because I can envision people who are listening really thinking that that's what it should be.
Absolutely, they do.
Yeah, that's a home maintenance plan. That's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, it's called yourself, hard work.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on things, fix it, you know, before it gets to be a big problem. Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a break here again, last break. But one of the things you want to be conscious of is the amount that you're going to self-insure for. And, you know, there are so many things that are not covered, things like sump pumps when the basement overflows and you don't happen to have coverage on your policy because it's excluded. Again, remember, look at what is not covered because those are the things you need to be concerned with. And if you feel there's a reasonable likelihood that something like that could happen, you better make sure and pay for the endorsement. We will be back in a moment speaking with State Farm's best agent, Kim Nybo. We'll be right back.
I even have people.
Traditional financial planners help you make decisions about stocks, bonds, and mutual funds with money you already have. That's great, but who helps you accumulate more money in the first place? Who helps you make day-by-day life decisions? Who isn't trying to sell you something? Like, should I go back to school? Am I wasting money on insurance? How to purchase and finance a car, boat, home, lake cabin, or investment property? How to start, manage, and sell a business? It's about making minor errors that become colossal mistakes and cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. The problem is that you're so busy pursuing your career that you're forced to make critical financial decisions that have a dramatic long-term effect on your finances without adequate research or information. Rooker Financial Coaching is like having a personal CFO for every decision. Don't waste time lamenting the bad decisions of the past or money that's run through your fingertips. Stop procrastinating. Call Rooker Financial Coaching, 763-559-3800. That's 763-559-3800. Call me today, Todd Rooker, 763-559-3800. That's 763-559-3800.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Nybo with the Kimberly Nybo Insurance Agency, serving the community for over 27 years. People tend to be most concerned with price. That is, of course, until something goes wrong. Then the only thing they care about is their coverage. My experience enables me to uncover every available discount. I could save you up to 40% while still offering the proper coverage for the people you care about. Call today for a free review at 763-571-6111 or email me at kim@kimnybo.com.
Todd Rooker here to tell you about the most amazing jewelry store, Golden Treasures on 805 Grand Avenue in St. Paul. I've known the owner, Todd Gimble, for almost 20 years now, and at Golden Treasures, not only do you get more for less, it's the experience that you and your special person will feel when you walk in the door. Todd truly puts his heart and soul into creating your experience regardless of how much money you spend. This is Todd's customer for life philosophy. Take it from me, there really is no other jewelry store. You can't go wrong with Golden Treasures in St. Paul. 651-227-2711. That's 651-227-2711.
Fix Auto has been the collision repair leader in the Twin Cities for over 40 years. Hi, I'm Matt Feehan, second generation owner. Our mission at Fix Auto is to provide you with the simplest collision repair experience anywhere. If you're in an accident and you need help, my team is here and ready for you. You can find us on the web at fixautousa.com. That's fixautousa.com. We are Fix Auto, home of the WOW experience.
You're listening to Cover Your Assets with Todd Rooker.
Welcome back, everybody. We always cover some of the best stuff at break. So we did talk a little bit about the fact that a deductible is the amount that you agree to self-insure for. I carry very high deductibles, but I also carry very high liability limits, $5 million umbrella policies on pretty much everything. And so I am actually making an appeal to a lot of you. If you hear financial coaches, advisors, and the like, you know, Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, people like me, we're always going to talk about having an emergency fund that's equivalent to at least 3 months of your total expenses set aside. What that does is it enables you, if you are the person who says, I will never have this, or I would rarely have this happen, well, then you're going to make money by carrying the higher deductible because overall you're going to pay less, and that amount of money that you're saving can easily go to pay for that higher deductible when and if it ever happens. However, simultaneously, you need to also convert some of that premium to pay for higher coverages in the way of replacement cost and or liability limits, because those are the things that will, somebody has a loss and they have to pay $1,000 in a deductible or $5,000 in a deductible, even in its extreme, sometimes $10,000 deductibles. And a lot of people, whether they know it or not, have $7,000 and $10,000 deductibles on their policy because there's multiple deductibles for multiple occurrences, and they don't even know that. But those things, as bad as they are, they will not wipe you out financially for the rest of your life. But let me tell you what, I'm from Crookston, Minnesota, and there was the 100-year flood up there. And those people did not have flood insurance. They weren't on the floodplain. So as a result, it was not deemed a floodplain. Flood insurance was not available to them. And when that flood came and washed their houses away, they had no coverage, but they still had the mortgages on the house that was no longer there. Right?
That is true. That is true.
And we were talking about the fact that there's people who have earthquake coverage here in Minnesota. Same thing, folks. If we're, as Evan just said, we're on a major fault line here in Minnesota for earthquakes. Bet you didn't even know that. And if that were to happen, you have no coverage if your house is demolished and rocked off its foundation. You have no coverage. So are you self-insuring for that? Are you guys? Are you? I'm telling you. These are the things you got to know, and that actual cash value that Kim talked about, it is such a big thing, isn't it? It has become such a big thing.
It has. More policies are going to an ACV type deal, to cost
ACV.
Actual cash value, ACV.
All right.
Yeah. So run away when insurance companies say, well, you can have an ACV policy, or you have ACV on your roof, or ACV on this, actual cash value. Run away from those policies, because
the other thing you'll hear a lot is cost schedule.
Yep.
Yeah. Depreciated cost schedule is basically ACV, but they don't even care about the condition of your roof. They just say it is X years old, so it is worth this percentage.
Absolutely. That is correct.
So they're depreciating it down over a schedule. So if your roof is $20,000 and it's 10 years old and it's been depreciated by 50%, you get $10,000 to replace a $20,000 roof.
But less, because you have to pay your deductible first.
Yes, you do.
And then what remains,
even
you'll
less.
pay 50% of.
Kim,
it doesn't get better. It gets worse.
Kim, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks,
You
Todd.
are the best.
Thank
If
you.
you want a great insurance agent, Kim Nybo with State Farm is the person you want to go to. Have a great weekend,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Nybo with the Kimberly Nybo Insurance Agency, serving the community for over 27 years. People tend to be most concerned with price. That is, of course, until something goes wrong. Then the only thing they care about is their coverage. My experience enables me to uncover every available discount. I could save you up to 40% while still offering the proper coverage for the people you care about. Call today for a free review at 763-571-6111 or email me at kim@kimnybo.com.
Fix Auto has been the collision repair leader in the Twin Cities for over 40 years. Hi, I'm Matt Feehan, second-generation owner. Our mission at Fix Auto is to provide you with the simplest collision repair experience anywhere. If you're in an accident and you need help, my team is here and ready for you. You can find us on the web at fixautousa.com. That's fixautousa.com. We are Fix Auto, home of the WOW experience.
This has been a paid program.